Dr. Iman Sadri lost 42 pounds by cutting out bread, rice, pasta, pizza and fries, going from 201 to 159 and keeping it off, eliminating carbs with intermittent fasting. And he's on the line with us here to talk about his book, Master the Psychology of Weight Loss. How are you today?
Great, thanks for having me on.
So, what was it that actually prompted you to write this book? I mean, was it your own experience?
Yeah, that's right. I, basically was able to lose 42 pounds and keep it off. And believe it or not, with virtually zero cardio, no extra, no running, just by changing what I ate. And I said, wow, I'm able to sustain this. 42% of Americans are obese, 71% are overweight. They need to know about, because you don't see any obese people living above 75 in a nursing home, let me tell you.
That's true, isn't it? You never see an overweight old person because I guess they don't live that long.
That's right. Yeah. Especially with the coronary artery being as thin as a pencil. It's the number one cause of stroke. Heart disease, number one killer in America.
So what is the key to cutting out the carbs and all the things that are going to make you gain weight? Because they're all things that are actually really hard to give up, aren't they?
They are. That's a great question. And the first chapter of my book is called You're Not Missing Out. Because if somebody's like 50 and they're overweight, they've had thousands and thousands of carbohydrate meals. The second chapter is the ramifications of overeating are not worth the consequences. So if one realizes that, if you're going to have an omelet and there's a bunch of bread on the side, you can get full without the bread. In fact, you won't feel like a beached whale, especially being Middle Eastern. I had all this massive rice associated with every dish, which people still eat. And you literally feel like, and I hate to say you always look like a beached whale pretty much. I feel like a beached whale, all that extra rice. But if you cut out the rice, you just have the meat, like the kebab and the side salad. It's like you're completely fueled and you don't feel so bloated.
And you still need some carbohydrates, don't you? Because arguably, if you just had a salad and a little bit of meat, you might not feel very full and maybe feel like you haven't eaten.
Yeah, that's right. And, in my book, I put a bunch of disclaimers. Please check with a nutritionist and dietitian, because ultimately in the daily food intake, the vitamin requirements, basically there's carbs in asparagus, there's carbs in tomatoes, there's, people, beer makes you fat. Beer only has 15 grams of carbs. But ultimately, and I drink beer every day, believe it or not. Even that's why I don't look like Ronaldo yet, but still, I've maintained my weight at 159, And so, but a lot of that will come with just eating, pretty much have a medium-sized meal. That's kind of the key is, I do semi-intermittent fasting. Animals don't eat 3 massive meals a day. Breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's a human-made concept. And my book talks about, well, if you got kids, you don't need to sit there and have a massive meal at dinner time, like the Last Supper at 8 p.m., especially if you're overweight. The key to weight loss is digesting oneself. They got extra fat on their body. If they don't eat at night, that extra fat is fuel. The body literally shrinks like a water balloon, which is the name of another chapter.
And one of the key drivers of obesity can be poverty. And for a lot of people, it's just a lot cheaper to buy unhealthy foods. So how do you get around that and still lose weight if you're struggling to make a healthy meal?
Great question. That's why the number 6 chapter of my book is called At the Drive-Thru. At the drive-thru, I gained, literally, I went to 201 pounds by eating a massive burger every day. At the very same drive-thru, I said, wait, what are some healthier options here? They got chicken salad, even cheaper than like a massive meal with burger and fries and a drink. They got the same exact menu meal, $6, $7 for a chicken salad and an iced tea. So technically, those healthy food options are really choices, and they're equally as expensive. Now, at vending machines, they don't have healthy options, and people shouldn't eat anything out of a vending machine. But in terms of grocery shopping, if I've done the research, honestly, if you eliminate the bread crackers and if somebody has pizza, don't have pizza, scrape the top of the pizza, put it in a bowl. So technically, there are ways to not make a lot of money and eat healthy.
How do you keep going? Because you might be able to manage a healthy lifestyle for a week or so, and then maybe have cravings and really want to go to McDonald's or another fast food restaurant available and just give up because at the end of the day, you probably still want to eat unhealthily, maybe?
Yeah, that's a great question. And, the number one driver is one has to decide to lose weight. The desire to lose weight, the desire to not continue to gain weight has to be greater than the cravings. And, one of my other chapters is disciplined eating, healthy substitutes for cravings. Now, and I used to have a cheat meal once a week. I'd go have like eggs Benedict, and I got rid of that. If somebody's married, there is no cheat day ultimately. So, and that has to be eliminated because I ended up over like indulging myself. I'd eat like 5,000 calories in a cheat day, and it actually sets you back like a bunch of steps. So it's tough to recover. So the reality is, back to the chapters, you're not missing out. If people kind of are able to realize that, you know what, if you have whatever meal, if just take off the bread, if you go get a burrito, don't have the bread, have a burrito bowl without the rice. So you kind of get to a point where you're like, you know what, there are a lot of kind of food options that are actually better tasting. And especially when you start getting to a point, even after like the first week, you start like kind of literally shredding extra weight. By your face becomes skinnier, literally by day 5. And, again, check with a nutritionist, check my book, Master Psychology of Weight Loss, on Amazon. And it kind of walks you through all the details. But people know they have to have a salad at a drive-thru versus a burger, but the desire has to be greater. And it's possible to sustain it with the results you see. That's really the motivation that comes with it.
Yeah. Obviously, there's benefits of losing weight in terms of you'll probably look better and feel better about yourself. But obviously, there's huge health reasons as well, aren't there?
Absolutely. And obesity, being the number one killer in America, which it really is, it's a silent killer, ultimately leads to so many systemic health issues. I'm a dentist of 15 years, and people are like, well, what's a dentist talking about weight loss? Well, you eat with your mouth. And I'm a dentist who lost weight, and ultimately periodontal disease is related to diabetes, and diabetes is ridiculously prevalent all over the world. Obesity really didn't exist 50 years ago. If you look around, it's an extremely minor percentage. It's kind of shot up from late 70s to now. And it's only going to get worse, childhood obesity. And so ultimately, yes, absolutely. So many health problems. And people get dialysis 3 days a week. You got to go for 4 hours, dialysis 3 days a week because people have diabetes. Yet they eat the diabetes medication. They take it, but they go and eat a donut. That's like running on a treadmill and eating a pastrami sandwich. It's extremely counterintuitive. People need to start making healthier choices because they're not missing out.
And you mentioned you're a dentist. Presumably there's some link between obesity and bad teeth because sugary things can damage your teeth as well.
100%. And, especially carbohydrates that stick to the teeth. And ironically, 10,000 years ago, before the advent of the agricultural revolution, cavities were less prevalent because there was no starch-related carbs. There were no refined sugar, and, back in the day, the jaw was bigger and it got smaller due to soft diet. That's why there's all these airway issues and crowding. Otherwise, everybody used to look like Tom Brady 50,000 years ago.
And how much hope is there for people? I mean, is there some people who there's just no helping? If somebody's the most overweight person in the world, I guess they can maybe lose some weight, but realistically, is there any chance of them becoming a healthy weight again?
What's funny is people used to say you should look like Brendan Fraser, and he's got that movie, The Whale. And there are people, and I literally have a picture. I pretty much almost look pretty similar to that, even though I think that guy was 600 pounds in the movie. Even somebody like that, and of course you got to check at that point with a dietitian and a nutritionist. But ultimately, if one does not consume food, and just about everybody listening to this probably has a little bit of extra fat on their body. That extra fat is their dinner. That extra fat, if they're is like, I have a buddy, he looks like Barney from The Simpsons. I hate to say this guy's like, and he's got a stomach's bulging out. And the other day, we're friends to a point where I could kind of tell him stuff like that. I'm like, listen, he's like, I'm starving at like 10 p.m. and his stomach is sticking out, like literally looks 10 months pregnant. And I'm like, brother, that right there, that's your dinner right there that you're holding on to in your stomach. That's your dinner, bro. You don't need to eat. So, and that works. That the science of intermittent fasting, that is the key to weight loss. That's how I lost weight, by not like literally just digesting myself because of the extra fat I had. And I'm 42, but people tell me I look like 33 at this point. In fact, when I was 31, I literally looked 50. I looked 20 years older than I was. So a lot of benefits to losing weight.
Have you got any more books on the way after this one?
You know what? Yeah, man. I actually have written another book. It's a children's book called It's actually also on Amazon. It's a hell of a story. It's called Faramoosh, the story of the forgetful mouse, about a blind mouse. I'm sorry, about an orphan mouse who has amnesia, trying to win cheese for his orphanage, but he's struggling in school and he doesn't do well in this practice maze, and he's discouraged. The winner of this big maze race among all the mice will win free cheese for their family, and here's his chance, but he's doing poorly. He learns about a blind mouse who won the same maze race 50 years earlier, who ultimately becomes his mentor. He's like, wait a second, a blind mouse can win a maze. I only have amnesia. So he becomes his mentor, and it's about overcoming obstacles, not feeling sorry for yourself. So that's on Amazon. Faramoosh, the story of the forgetful mouse. And I wrote a third book, Why Teeth Are Like Diamonds, a case for conservative dentistry. Teeth don't decompose for millions of years. Most dental problems occur. Teeth get loose because of gum disease, or mostly root canal crowns extractions, excluding wisdom teeth on adult teeth, have to do with the fact that they've had dental treatment that has failed. Otherwise, untouched teeth withstand fires. Cavities don't cause a wormhole to eat away teeth like they used to think. That's why I tell dentists, unless you're Michelangelo, you're doing a perfect filling, you better do a perfect filling, because you have to depend on their hygiene. And I also wrote a memoir. I also wrote a play called Beethoven at Mozart. I used to be a sports writer a couple of years before I was a dentist, and that play is actually on a couple of shows being performed here. But this weight loss book, if you're interested in losing weight, I talk about a lot of factors, like the hidden perks of skipping breakfast and dinner, because just about everybody listening probably has some extra weight to lose, and this is my main thing I'm going to be known for, hopefully, because I sent copies of Oprah and I have a couple influencers talking about this book. But yeah, Master the Psychology of Weight Loss. I have a fifth book, Persian Keto Diet, talking about how you can have healthy, delicious food options without any kind. That's my sixth book, without any kind of rice or bread. That's the devil. I swear to God, rice is the devil, bread's the devil. And if you have to have pasta, I talk about this in my book. You can have zucchini pasta, but if you're going to have a massive pasta meal, you can't have that 4 times a day. That should be your only meal, middle of the day. And I talk about all the nuances of how you can, nobody's going to die if they don't eat four meals a day if they have extra weight to digest.
Well, where are we able to find this book, Master the Psychology of Weight Loss?
So that's on Amazon. I mean, you could look up, just type it in on Amazon, and it's you could order it, and also you could just look me up on social media at Dr. Iman Sadri, DRIMAN SADRI, and you can send me a DM. And also, if you're in California, my real day job, I have a couple teeth whitening offices, and so look up SoCalTeethWhitening.com if you're ever interested in the market for that. But yeah, it's on Amazon, as is my other book. The other books are all published by private publisher, but you can DM me and get copies of those as well.
Excellent. Well, many thanks for talking to us today. It's been great having you on.
Lovely chatting.